Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. I've been trying to expand a little bit on my readings, not just focusing on U.S., but doing other countries as well. There's a big story that's been coming out of France over the last 5 days. Apparently, there was a traffic stop that occurred, and a young man who was stopped by the police was shot and killed. And this sparked days of riots throughout France, causing the police to have to mobilize, and cars are being burned and buildings are set on fire. I mean, huge protests and violent. A lot of violence. There's obviously a lot of anger associated with this. And of course, when you have a lot of emotion like that, there are political groups that will take advantage of that. There was a fundraiser sent for the victim's family that raised about 215,000 euros as of Monday. Now, a far-right media commentator then set up his own GoFundMe at another site, and they raised 1.1 million, so like almost 5 times the amount and that was for the police officer who shot the young man. The police officer is under I don't know if arrest is the right word, but I think he's being charged with the killing. I don't know what the exact charge was on that. So I wanted to throw on the protests. It looks like the protests might be winding down, and some violence even. I guess last night some protesters drove a car into a local mayor's house, set the car on fire, while the mayor's wife and their 2 young children were in the house. And I guess when the woman tried to escape out of the house with her 2 kids, she broke her leg in the process, and one of the kids got hurt. And they said something about shooting rockets at them. Sounds like they were throwing fireworks or stuff like that at the family fleeing. Now, I understand people want eye for an eye and all sorts of stuff like that, but that's not the answer. And the response from the mayor was like, well, now we know who these protesters really are, as they tried to murder my family. You got some protesters there, and that may not represent the majority of them. Certainly with our Black Lives Matter protests that weren't violent like this, there were people that infiltrated, basically far-right extremists infiltrated it and tried to cause problems. And a lot of the arrests that were made for instigators like this, turns out they weren't Black Lives Matters protesters. They were instigators that were infiltrating it. Much like this far right-wing commentator trying to get a rise out of people by raising money for the police officer involved in the shooting, and just showing that 5 times so many people will give money to the cop than they will to the victim of this crime. But I want to get a read on kind of the current vibe that's happening in France with regards to this incident, for entertainment purposes only. Okay. It looks like the emotions are starting to come down. I think people have spent their emotional wad, or shot their emotional wad, as it were, and they're starting to look away from this. Certainly having a large police force out there helps, but again, I think with the violence against the mayor's wife and the 2 kids, that was kind of like a bridge too far. And I think that kind of broke the spell of the riots that were going on. What are we crossing? This is the youth, and this is looking at youths in a different way. One of the quotes in the story I was reading, some of the youths want the police to wear body cams so that there's accountability of the police officers. I mean, this sounds just like what happens in the United States, right? Except that we don't protest for 5 days when a person is shot and killed by the police. We just sort of shrug it off, which I guess shows you the state that the United States is in relative to the rest of the world. The rest of the world, a police officer kills a kid at a traffic stop, that's not right to them. And that's something that deserves a violently large reaction. I kind of like France's response better than the U.S. response, to be honest with you. It seems more humane. In the past, Queen of Pentacles. It's about taking care of people, taking care of things of value. Again, It's a traffic stop. There's no reason for somebody to be shot and killed in a traffic stop. There just isn't. Now, again, I don't know any more of the details around it. Now, if the young man was trying to run down cops getting away and they shot him and killed him, that's one thing, but that doesn't sound like what happened here. Current situation, the moon. There's a lot of mystery, a lot of unknown things that need to be resolved because of this situation. What there is a lot of passion and a lot of emotion, but what there isn't is a lot of facts of the story, and those facts need to come out. Over it all is the Two of Pentacles. France is going to be in turmoil for a while because of this, because they're trying to, what's more important, our general safety from the police or your individual safety when dealing with the police. In other words, yeah, we want a safe society, but not at the cost of executing people at traffic stops. That's not our idea of a safe society. The other thing that came to mind is getting your facts straight, getting your story straight. And I don't like this card very much, but it's, it wouldn't be a surprise if the police are trying to get their story straight. I just hope that whatever story they come up with is factual and not a fantasy. The governments are going to be involved. The court system is going to be involved in this. There could very well be laws or new regulations or guidances that come out of this because young people want to be valued and protected, and the government oversees the police force. So the government's going to have to step in and do something to prevent, something like this from happening again. The outcome, victory. I think out of this, whether or not the police officer is prosecuted, maybe something good rises out of the ashes of this tragedy. Once things are revealed, something good comes out of this. And it's going to require political parties to come together, to work together, to come to this reality. Communities as well as local leaders coming together and trying to figure out a way to prevent something like this from happening again. Okay, so wishing a lot of light and peace to France and my viewers from France who are watching this. It's a very tragic event, and I'm sorry for what you're dealing with here. And I wish people here were as passionate about the very same thing, but we're kind of jaded, and that's really, really sad. Thank you for supporting my channel. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.